Welcome. This is the second of 3 monologues that I wrote a few years ago, looking at the story of Easter from Mary's perspective. Try and sit back and imagine you are there, outside the city walls. Imagine the noise and the smells and all that is going on around you. We start with the words of Simeon. Led by the Spirit, Simeon went into the temple. When the parents brought the child Jesus into the temple to do for him what the law had required, Simeon took the child in his arms and gave thanks to God. Now the Lord, you have kept your promise, and you may let your servant go in peace. With my own eyes I have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light to reveal your will to the Gentiles and bring glory to your people Israel. The child's father and mother were amazed at the things Simeon had said about him. Simeon blessed them and said to Mary his mother, "This child is chosen by God for the destruction and the salvation of many in Israel. He will be a sign from God, which many people will speak against, and so reveal their secret thoughts, and sorrow, like a sharp sword, will break your own heart." My heart is about to break. I am barely standing. The noise is piercing, and the joy and the celebration of last week has long gone. There is no joy, no love here. This is a dark place, a place of pain and fear and sadness and evil. How did we get here? How we stood here outside the city walls? The centurions have just nailed my son's hands to the crossbar, to the wood. You could see him absorbing the pain. Where most, if not all, would scream, he absorbed it, took it into himself. Stop, please stop. If you don't know what you are doing, leave my son alone. Stop this. My heart and my soul cry out. No mother should have to watch this happen to their child. As the cross drops into place, every bone in my body, his body jars, moves, shatters, and I drop to my knees. No longer able to stand, I feel so alone. I'm with people who know and care for me, but Joseph has died, and now my firstborn is dying torturous death for trumped up charges that never existed. Why, Jesus, didn't you fight? Why didn't you talk? Why have you been so passive in all of this? Deep down I know why. I know you are God's son. I know all Gabriel told me is true. I've seen it in your eyes, in the way you touch people. You see into people's souls. The way you called Lazarus up from the grave, restoring that family. But I can't stop my heart joining in with the mockers and wanting you to come down off the cross. Jesus, my heart is breaking. All our hearts are breaking. Please show everyone who you are. Come down. I can't keep the tears at bay any longer. I know a parent is never supposed to cry, but this is too much. They have mocked you and spat on you and pushed thorns in your head and flogged you, and now you are fighting for your breath, trying to keep your body breathing. He's managing to talk to the 2 men beside him. How has he the energy? Something's going on. I can barely hear what they are arguing about. But surely this is not the time or the place. But one of the men seems calmer, seems to be relaxing. Strange place to find relaxation. but there is a visible change in his face, more like Jesus's. He's speaking to me now. He motioned John, his closest friend, and is simply saying, "Behold your mother." He may have looked at times like he didn't acknowledge me, but he did love me, I know that. John will look after me now, keep me safe. Jesus took some wine and then he called out his last gasping breath. "It is finished." Those words will haunt me forever. And he just passed away. You could almost see his spirit leave him. I screamed from the depth of my being. I could feel Simeon's prediction of the sword turning again in my side. I don't know how Jesus could ask the Lord to forgive them. How am I ever going to recover from this? How am I ever going to be able to forgive this? They had betrayed my son, mocked him, humiliated him, divided his clothes up, and now my son, God's son, is dead. I don't know what else to say. My grief is all-consuming. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his garments and divided them into 4 parts, 1 part for each soldier, also his tunic. But the tunic was seamless, woven in one piece from top to bottom. So they said to one another, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it to see whose it shall be." This was to fulfill the scriptures which says, "They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." So the soldiers did these things. But standing by the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour the disciple took her to his own home. Amen.